So I had this friend, not really a friend anymore, which is what you'll hopefully agree with after the end of this story. This friend of mine set me up with this girl, and we exchanged emails a couple times. We finally decided to meet at Starbucks, kind of near a mutually accessible place. And she seemed nice. We hit it off pretty well. But then I asked her where she lived exactly. I was just being curious. I wasn't trying to, be a stalker or anything. And she got really weird. And I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "Well, I have issues with that." And I thought, uh-oh, she's probably married, or maybe she's living with someone and she doesn't want to tell me. But apparently, she told me after another few minutes of talking and opening up to each other that she lived in a bus with some friends of hers. And at first I thought she was joking, because I don't think that you could live in a bus for very long without the police coming to arrest everybody. But she said it was kind of outside of town in an unincorporated area. And I knew that there were a few of these unincorporated areas outside of town. But I didn't think that people could actually live there, because there's no water, there's no power, there's no electricity. And so I asked her, I said, "How do you guys survive out there?" And she said, "Well, we have our own system. We get water, we get food." And I started thinking, how do you take showers and stuff? And she says, "Do you want to come out and see?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not? What do I got to lose?" And so we met at a different place the following Saturday. And I followed her out there, and sure enough, we took this road that didn't have a marker or anything, and we drove out to this maybe 10, 20 miles out into what looked like the desert. Just kind of this big flat dirt area, not a lot of vegetation or trees, and there's this circle of buses that made me think of those old movies where the pioneers were going across the United States and the Indians would attack and they'd circle the wagons. That's the first thought I had. They were getting ready to defend their camp against some invaders or something. And so there was 20, 30 people, mostly females. In fact, now that I think of it, they were all females living in this makeshift old abandoned bus camp. And so they kind of set up this bonfire in the center of their buses that were kind of lined up in a circle, maybe 30 yards in diameter. And so they set up this big bonfire in the center, and I started wondering what was going on, because it seemed like they were having some kind of a big non-normal celebration. I doubt, because of the amount of wood they used and the amount of preparation they put into building the bonfire, I doubted that this was something that they did every night. And so about 10:30, 11 o'clock, a couple of these girls went into the bus, and they brought out this guy that was dressed in this latex suit, and a couple of images flashed in my mind when I saw that. The first was that famous scene from Pulp Fiction where they pull that dude out of the box, bring out the gimp. And another was this strange article I read on the internet the other day about this kind of fetish that people have where they dress up as dogs, and they have owners, and these dog costumes are these really expensive looking latex body skin tight colorful things, and that's what this guy had on. He had a thing on it that made him look like a dog, and these two girls came walking him out of this bus, and he was walking on the ground, and I thought, this is the most fucked up thing I've ever seen. And they took him to the center, not to the center, because the center was where the bonfire was, but they took him just off to the center of the bonfire, and they took this railroad spike, and pounded it into the ground and attached this guy by this collar he had around his neck to this railroad spike. And they just went back to their place around the circle, and they just kind of sat there, and nobody said anything about what was going on. The girl that I was there with was kind of talking to her friends, and it was kind of weird. And so I was kind of by myself just watching this event unfold, wondering what the fuck they were going to do with this guy dressed as a dog that was staked to the ground. And the fire eventually died out, and right around midnight, these huge bolts of lightning came down and obliterated this fucker dressed up as a dog, 5, 6 lightning bolts at a time, just. And the guy, I don't know if he knew it was coming or if he even knew why he was there or how they got him there or what the situation was that led to him being in a bus dressed up as a dog being led up by these two girls in this fucking camp with buses surrounding the outside of that fire pit. But he was just vaporized within seconds. And then it started to rain. And the girl that I came there with came back and sat next to me, and she said, "This is how we get our water." And I was like, what the fuck? So you guys like sacrifice humans to get water and probably food and whatever else they need. So I thought that's pretty interesting. And then next time she went to talk to her friends, it kind of left me alone like she had done most of the evening. I sort of quietly left, drove back home. And now every time my phone rings, I'm afraid that it's her, wondering why I haven't called her back. Fucking crazy, man.